let's bring this meeting to order. Let's make it a good one so that we don't have to have David book a room.
That didn't sound right.
Yeah, book a room for for an in-person meeting. Sorry, I'll finish, Alita.
Yes, thank you.
So we left off. I think it was in purple just a second ago. Did you take off the purple?
Yeah, I can bring it up and show everybody. I see Latasha's done a fair amount of work in the last week. She looks embarrassed, but it's all good stuff. And it really jibes well with what Jennifer and I have been talking about a little bit. Jennifer's already met once with the graphic designer. We're meeting with them on Friday. And to nobody's surprise, their response was, this is way too much text. You know, we need to get this in human language, and we need to trim it down some. So I'd like to do what we can today and then leave here with the blessing of the group that Jennifer and I can work with the graphic designer, make cuts as needed moving forward, and share it back with everybody. So we're not trying to get 10 people to wordsmith things. But just with that in mind, Meredith, we're about to get into one of the media sections, which really has a lot of maybe redundancy and things that we could kind of cull down a little bit. And I just wanted to start in the spirit of I'm okay with that, if you all are okay with it. And then we want to make sure we leave a little time at the end today to identify folks that are willing to work on the parallel project. And then I want to share one last thing. Inside your folder, I added a link to the State Library Strategic Planning Workbook, which is recently released. And this was in draft format when we started this project a year ago. So some of the thinking that we have done has come from this, but you all haven't had access to it. So now there's a full link in there. It's a strategic planning workbook for Virginia Public Libraries that the state library put out, largely written by Nan Carmack, who's now also the VLA president. But this is where we got this whole idea of we want to have kind of a one-page document that shares our strategic vision for the next 5 years. And there's some good content in there. It's about 20 or 30 pages. You don't have to read it right this second, but she's got some examples of here's fake library, 1 page, very graphics heavy. Here's another one, strategic goals and priorities. So that's where if folks ask us down the road, well, where'd you get this idea to go from this 20-page document to this 1-page thing? Well, it's from the state library. Okay. We were working on strategies, and I think somewhere I said this is where we left off. So I think we were done here, but it looks like Latasha would like us to go back. I've got one little question. There's only 1 hour in this whole thing. And I don't mind, our old style guide said we don't like to use we, our when talking about the library because it gives this sense of like the staff are talking about something that belongs to them, not this public good. I don't mind using it differently, but it's the only one in the whole thing. So I'm inclined to change that to not our community, but the community. Any objections? I think also I was telling Jennifer yesterday that after a year, I've gotten to the point where everybody here is so done with this project that there's not a lot of new ideas of wordsmithing. So, okay. So we were working under, we provide free, equitable, open access to information. And the goal was JMRL will facilitate discovery and delivery of a wide range of materials in a variety of formats. The library will adopt new technologies to meet the changing needs of the community. And we had wordsmithed the first strategy down to provide a high quality, Kayla's in the way, high quality collection that reflects and supports the community's diversity and its freedom to read. Latasha saying, not sure the statement is the right place or necessary for this particular goal. So about free, equitable, open access to information. It doesn't answer how will JMRL facilitate discovery and delivery. I think it fits under the next goal better, if at all. Not sure how providing a collection ensures it's discovered or delivered.
Yeah, I just thought it fit. The next one speaks more to making sure we're offering, quality resources and stuff. Whereas just trying to answer that question of how it just seemed like here it's just a nice statement of we're going to make sure we have a high quality collection. I just didn't understand what that had to do with something being discovered or delivered.
I can see where it ties to the value,
Mhm.
providing free, equitable, open access to information. I think it fits more under that value than it does under inspiring lifelong learning. But it might tie more directly to the goal.
I wonder if we change the verb instead of just providing it, because what we're actually, the goal would be providing the access to the collection, not just storing a collection, but the idea is we're allowing equitable access to the collection through whatever details we come up with, and having a high quality collection that reflects diversity and freedom to read, et cetera. I think absolutely ties in with equitable and access to information. It's just, I think it is that verb that I'm struggling with.
Well, how is this different from the value down below? I mean, the strategy down below: offer programs, resources, and services aimed at creating a culture of inclusion, meet customers' needs at every stage of life.
Which I said was redundant to the goal that it was with too,
Right.
because it's not really stating anything useful outside of the goal itself. It's just restating the goal, which is why I kind of thought it fit better underneath. And certainly I see where it fits inspiring lifelong learning, because if you want to inspire lifelong learning, you have to make sure you have a high quality collection with which to do that with. But that was just me staring at it going,
I think we certainly wanted to, so much of this is trying to distill a year's worth of getting feedback from the public and from our staff and from our peers, and wanting to make sure that we included something about freedom to read in our strategic plan, in our vision here. So it seems a bit shoehorned, in order to try to meet that, we wanted to get something in there. I still think we want to get something in here, just saying that we're going to support our community's freedom to read. But if this isn't the best place to do it, then I'm open for suggestions. The only suggestion I've heard so far is Latasha's take this and move it under the next goal.
Well, then I'm sorry, but my other suggestion would be to change the verb
Oh,
to
yes.
focus on providing access to the collection, which might change the way we read that sentence in relation to the mission. It doesn't not inspire lifelong learning, but I think it originally, and again, I'm willing to let this go, but we were stressing equitable access, and part of that ties into the freedom to read.
and I think that's what's missing, is there's nothing there that really speaks to access or discovery in that sense.
Yeah. So I absolutely see that, and it's almost like promote awareness and discoverability. And I think, if I recall correctly, we were originally trying to make these first two bullets into one.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking too. But the second one already has 2 sentences in it.
And then we had so much there.
Right.
Would that provide access, or wouldn't that almost be the same still as the part in red above it? I mean, do we need both of those?
Facilitate discovery and delivery of a wide range of materials in a variety of formats.
The one thing I think we would miss if we deleted it is this idea of the community's diversity, unless you feel the changing needs of the community means the same thing, but I'm not really sure if it does.
Jennifer, was this one of the ones that you had flagged too? I forgot to pull up your.
Yes. I felt a lot of what Latasha is saying. I mean, something that I'm wanting to see is that it's not just restating the goal, but that it actually sort of tells how, like not just that you are going to do this, but a strategy to me would have a little more how. And I think that Meredith is bringing in some of that language that is defining it a little more. That, and I did think that some thoughts could be combined through these bullets, because I'm seeing repetition in the bullets. So I was just thinking that if there are ways to tighten up some of these to.
What if you took that out, and where you've got changing needs of the community to meet the changing needs and diversity of the community?
So put it in the goal itself.
Yep. And then take that whole line out, because I'm assuming if you're delivering a wide range of materials that they are going to be high quality. I mean, I would think that would be an assumption that it would be.
And Jennifer pointed out what I said last week is, the strategies are supposed to be answering the question of how.
Yeah.
I
mean, to me, it's saying we're going to provide a high quality collection, or we're going to provide access to a high quality collection. And that's how we're going to facilitate discovery and delivery. But I hear you. So I think maybe even I like Susan's comment that we're not going to provide a non-high quality collection, because I don't know, I've read some of these books.
I enjoyed those particular books.
Not sure how high quality they are, but maybe library will adopt new technologies to meet the changing needs of the community. And that doesn't, so we could say a diverse community, but that doesn't talk about the collection or the freedom to read. That specifically was about these new technologies.
We do talk about a culture of inclusion in the next under inspiring lifelong learning. I mean, it's not like, it might be a way to put it in another way.
I mean, I would almost be okay with taking support the community's diversity and its freedom to read and putting it like under offer programs, resources, and services aimed at creating a culture of inclusion, meet customers' needs at every stage of life, support the community's diversity and its freedom to read.
Well, that's another one that's kind of redundant to the goal above it, though.
It also conflates, and it's possible we should do this. I'm not saying it's not, but one is about the collection, the materials we collect,
Right.
and one is about programs and services, which is activities staff provides. I know that word resources in there, but that's, I think, why originally it was two different. I'm not saying it needs to stay, but just making sure that we get both prongs of that.
One option is you can take it out and put it as a comment, David, and then we can always change our minds. It's not gone forever. And see how it reads without it, or
I'm stuck, I think, on the freedom to read part of it, not the Meredith D. I think I would be okay with cutting the collection part here because of the overall goal, saying to Latasha's point, the overall goal already saying we're going to facilitate discovery and delivery of a wide range of materials.
Yeah.
To me, that's not that dissimilar from provide a high quality collection that, although it doesn't say reflects and supports the community's diversity, which was Meredith C's point there.
Yeah, it's the second half of that directly supports free, equitable access.
Yeah.
And that's, I agree with you. I think the first part, and Susan and everybody else, I agree with that. But that second part, focus on specifically equitable access.
So what about
Go ahead. Talk about equity and accessibility and technology below, though. I mean, is there a way to
just split those out? What about trying to throw it into this? I think initially these were one big, too long thing. So, but promote awareness and discoverability of library resources. Keep digital resources current, accessible, secure.
Adapting to meet patrons' information seeking behavior and their freedom to read.
And is it a way we've got digital resources, accessible and equitable. We've got digital services, I mean, we've got digital services, we've got technologies that are accessible and equitable, we've got a collection. Is there any way we can combine all of that into one? In the first bullet, you're talking about a quality collection. You want to make that diverse and equitable. Then down to the next one, you're saying that your digital resources are accessible and equitable. Then down here, you've got emerging technologies that will be equitable and accessible. Is there any way to just combine all of them?
That's a good point, Susan. I'm reading those three in my brain, trying to figure out like what's similar about the three of them and what's different there.
Is it something you could say about library resources to the public will be made accessible and according to the diversity of the population, or diverse to the, is there something you could say like all library resources, and that would include your collection, that would include your digital content, that would include your technology content?
Yeah, potentially. Now I'm stuck
Nope.
on are this one and this one. Yeah, I mean, they're two different things. Like really the first one is about web content and how people are going to discover what we're offering digitally. And the second one is about emerging technologies. Because I was thinking those are two that we could easily maybe slide together.
Is something like this too broad? Ensure that all resources provided to the community support its diversity and its freedom to read.
Ensure that all resources provided to the community
reflect its diversity and freedom to read.
Support its diversity and its freedom to read. Or it could be reflect, you're right.
Okay, that would definitely, you know, that kind
You're
of
saying reflect the diversity of the community. Is that what you're talking about here?
Yeah, I think reflects a better word than supports.
Yeah.
I agree.
But are we reflecting a freedom to read?
No, reflecting its diversity.
Reflects its diversity and supports its freedom to read.
I like that.
And how many bullets can you delete with that one?
Bunch.
Latasha.
As I get in trouble as we're going through this stuff and I get stuck on one while everyone else, and I'm like,
So I think that gets at the core of provide a high quality collection that reflects and supports the community's diversity and its freedom to read. It's basically saying the same thing as that.
Right.
Yes.
Is it also saying that what else is it replacing? I think it's just a rephrasing of the one that we had.
Wouldn't it? Couldn't we?
Well, if it is, then maybe it makes it better. I mean,
yeah,
let's get rid of. I think we can get rid of the second bullet now because we have that in the first one.
Agreed,
And
but it
see
doesn't
where we
actually.
stand.
I can see Jennifer's head exploding because it doesn't actually say any space.
But doesn't it get rid of educate and provide access to emerging technologies, because that is a resource? We're saying all resources. Everything we have here is going to be made so it reflects its diversity and supports freedom to read.
So I will say part of that language better fits what the goal is, the educate and provide access does fit the overarching goal better. Not
cut the last one.
The last seemed like the last one is you can get rid of.
I think Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong, but maintain infrastructure and offer tools to serve public needs, expanding technology to improve access to the library resources could conceivably be part of educate and provide access to emerging technologies, ensure equity and accessibility in technology. I don't see a differentiation there.
I think so.
Are you okay with that?
Keeping in mind, we can bring these points back into the larger staff document, right? So it's not
Yeah,
like,
who's keeping track of
Yeah,
that?
some of that is just exactly.
All right, see that? Killed one bullet point. So let's promote awareness and discoverability of library resources, adapting to meet patrons' information seeking behavior, keep digital resources current, accessible, and secure while ensuring room for growth. To me, this is an important strategy here. Some of this could become a staff objective, but it's something that we know we're going to be working on in a broad sense. You know, more and more digital resources and content, and making sure that they are discoverable for our patrons.
I think that one really does reflect the goal that's written above. Honestly, it strikes at the heart of it, basically.
On the next bullet point, that part right there that's highlighted. Do you need that right now? I mean,
No, I agree with
No, we
Latasha's
don't need
assessment
that.
here, that's an objective. I guess we're just going to use track changes to figure out all the objectives that we're pulling out of here.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember if I have a printed copy somewhere.
Meredith had a good idea, stick it in a comment, right? Like
Yeah.
highlight something you're not getting rid of and stick it off to the side saying, we got rid of this.
So then you just remember that it's there and you can
Yeah.
decide later. I guess track changes might do that as well, but
Yeah, I mean, we could do that with that. So I think we're okay with that. Okay.
well, that's much shorter.
It's better.
It's getting there. That's still, we got a ways to go, but tools.
We have 2 ensures now.
Mhm.
It could be
Let's-
provide. You could be provide the JMRL staff with the resources needed to provide adaptable, flexible library.
That's 2 provides though in one sentence.
yeah.
Needed to adapt and I don't know.
Flex.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this didn't work.
We also already say resources when we're talking about community resources, but
That's all right. That's a different.
and library resources.
Yes, there's lots of resources in
Lot of
here.
resources in every tab.
We're kind of
And
in the
that-
resource business, you know. So
It might also be, it's one of those
Love
things
respect.
that the graphic designer is bringing up, that resources might not resonate with the general public as much. to
Well, I mean,
understand what we're talking about. Like, I don't go to
Right.
the library to get a resource necessarily. Like, do you have any new resources for me? I don't know.
I
just-
absolutely hear that, but we're using it as a way, to Susan's point earlier, to describe like 10 different things. So either
Yeah.
we think of another word for it, or we lay out, here's the 10 different things.
Yep.
So let's make a note to that effect, and Jennifer and I can talk about it with the designer too.
Just to think a little bit about it, if there's another, on the next rewrite, if there's a way to think about using other words or.
I was going to use resources in that. This is just mostly
What would be another word for resources?
stuff.
Materials.
Yeah. It's not, it's not just materials even,
Yeah.
because we're talking about like giving people access to trainings, displays, all sorts of things.
the internet.
So maybe that's something for here, Jennifer,
Mhm.
like to define resources.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have a lot of space that, well, not a lot, but
But yeah, there's some space to help give context
Mm-hmm.
so that, there's understanding of
yeah.
what we're talking about. Yeah. That's good.
Kayla, are we still tied up on that Foster's? I skipped a comment here.
I think that had just been a conversation last week.
Can we let it go because it was a week ago?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, yeah, 2 Foster or that. I just didn't know what we ended up with in the final. 2 Foster, yeah, that's fine.
2 Foster, okay. Okay, so we cut that down a little bit. We okay with moving on to the third goal here? So the values inspire lifelong learning. The goal is JMRL will offer a diverse range of high quality programs, resources, and services to promote learning at every stage of life, both at library locations and in the community. Natasha
Also,
says,
you brought that down from up at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to say, I heard that before. Yeah, okay.
well, it's not, like to your point, Alita, the language is very similar to JMRL will facilitate discovery and deliver a wide range of materials. So diverse range of high quality programs, resources, and services. So I think this is maybe a library distinction that we would make to the whole discussion about what's a resource. The earlier one was talking about materials and things that we give people. This one's talking about the scope of our services, everything. Maybe it doesn't matter. Let's leave it as it is for now until we get through Latasha's comment here. There's so much repetition in the listed strategies that I wonder if the goal is overstated because so much of what follows is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then Latasha apologized profusely. You can tell from the capitalization.
At this point, I knew I had to.
No, this is great. Don't apologize. This is great work. Wonder if a better goal statement would be JMRL will promote learning at every stage of life, both at the library and in the community.
And then from there, your how is by offering a diverse range of quality programs, resources, services, because right under that is offer programs, resources, and services aiming at, like, it just,
I like that.
It's kind of restating the same thing over and over again.
I think that's really probably very, very good.
Yeah. Short and sweet.
Stage or state?
Every stage.
Both.
Both. Both.
I like how you capitalize the library.
Yeah, I'm a little fuzzy on that sometimes, but
well, we're talking about a specific library, so yeah, system. So I think capitalization might be okay as compared to
grammar rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in our current style guide to capitalize.
If
Library.
you're referring.
Okay, so if you say that there in the goal, do you need to say that second sentence meets customer needs at every stage of life?
No.
That
probably not. Any objections?
No, I think
Once,
we can take
twice.
that out.
Yeah, agreed.
The one thing we lost was a diverse range of programs. Do we want to add that into, as Latasha originally made the good suggestion to add it in right there? Yes, right there. I don't know.
So I think here's another place where we wanted to define all those types of literacy, to show our readers, our audience here, who are our users, they are our elected officials, they are our funders, they are our fundraising partners, they are our non-users, to show them what we are all about. We wanted to say what we meant by literacy, which is more than just learning how to read. Do we need to lay that out here?
Or is that in the staff objectives part?
Is it a staff objective, or could it potentially also be in the preamble, information?
yes, I think it probably should be up there in the preamble part, where you're describing all kinds of services.
And I think if you describe it up there, the specific types should be, like you promote literacy of all kinds, and then like a not a comma or parenthesis or something, and then list those, all those together and finish the sentence. If you're going to do it up there or down here either. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're saying that if we were to do this in some way, this would be like a semicolon or some sort of like.
Yeah, and it would it would follow
Of all kinds.
of all kinds. It would
Right, so
follow.
that it's clear that you're talking, like, get it closer to literacy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Literacy of all kinds, including because
Right.
we're describing the kinds of literacy, not the resources.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So this definitely needs some work at the top here. And I've thought all along that this is just kind of a placeholder here.
Yeah.
I like some of the language that I especially like as responsible stewards of the community's trusts, resources, and knowledges. JMRL is focused on the following. Here's why we're doing this. The rest of this, whether or not we need to state, here's what we did 5 years ago. If this document is going to live for the next 5 years, then all of a sudden that gets further and further in the rearview mirror every year.
While you're up here, I'm looking at the red text, and we did change the red on the third bullet.
Oh, thank you.
I'll also change it here. It'll show us all at once.
It brought the comment with it. That's funny. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. So maybe replace this. Just say, and reiterate JMRL's support. That I'm not so worried about that getting to the graphic designer when we meet with them. I think if we can kind of earmark, here's how much space we have and here's the tone of what we want to go for, then like we can get some specific language there. Jennifer and I can work on that too. Okay. So does that mean we're dropping, what are we dropping out of this?
That.
Do we need the rest of it?
Programs.
We're going to promote learning at every stage of life. And then we're going to promote literacy of all kinds through program. I guess to Latasha's point, this kind of says more of the how we're going to do that with programming and access to library resources. It seems pretty generic. Like, isn't this what every library in America does? It's not exactly a forward-thinking goal that we're going to promote literacy through programming and access to library resources.
Yeah, sometimes it's even just flipping the order, like just saying through programming and access to library resources, JMRL will promote literacy of all kinds. But yeah, it just kind of, it's what libraries do.
Yeah.
Sense.
So do we need that as a strategy?
I think we need to preserve our traditional role in addition to looking forward. Like, it's one of the things we want to stay as a core.
You don't think somebody's going to see that and say, well, duh.
I don't know. These days, we might need to remind them that it's supposed to be a duh.
This is a good point. Okay. Expand outreach services within a coordinated regional framework. I mean, that's probably the strategy right there. Possible future scenarios are all objectives, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I can be ruthless and cut words.
You're just warming up.
I will say when you comment as you're highlighting that and then you delete it, you're going to delete the comment.
Yeah, I figured that out as I was doing it.
So
I anticipated your.
Just a little tech support.
Yeah. Okay, great. So the last vision, last value is we cultivate a welcoming environment for community engagement. And the goal is JMRL will work with stakeholders to provide modern, accessible, and safe spaces for staff and patrons. Great, I love it. Good job on the goals. Okay. Make JMRL's physical spaces accessible and available to our community. Points of emphasis. So here, yeah, here's where we tried to shoehorn a little specificity into this, but it seems like what we're doing now is pulling as much specificity out as we can, and trying to get the broader picture. So if we pull that out and make it an objective for staff, addressing barriers to physical access, creating welcoming environments, addressing transportation issues, then it just leaves make JMRL's physical spaces accessible and available to our community.
Which
that
might be able to
different
be
from the-
combined with a third, provide modern welcoming safe spaces for staff and patrons. Is that different from physical spaces accessible and available?
Modern, welcoming, safe, accessible, available. I don't think so.
Well, and they're kind of just restating the goal too. They're not really housed so much as just restatements of before. So like I thought that first one, you could just, to make it more of a strategy, it would be something like to evaluate the accessibility and safety of existing spaces. That would be one way you would be ensuring that you provide modern and accessible and safe.
Getting back, evaluate. I love it.
Yeah, we did move away from evaluate for a few years, but Latasha, repeat that one. Evaluate the
accessibility and safety of existing spaces.
I mean, it could be, to Meredith Dickens' point, it could be something along evaluate and then address, like evaluate and then.
Absolutely.
In order to provide modern, welcoming.
No, I don't think you want to put that because
you don't need that in there. It's already in your goal.
No.
Yeah.
I was just trying to take it. Yeah, so we can just remove bullet 4 completely.
I think we can
Provide modern welcoming because it's in the red.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th bullet. Yeah.
So we can also get rid of this one, right?
Oh yeah, and it wasn't availability, David, it was safety. I don't know if there's another way to say,
availability is maybe not the greatest word, but I think it leaves room in there for hours discussions, like when.
But spaces rather than safety.
Safety.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. This would be the place where we would talk about like Sunday hours at Northside and things like that.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, get rid of bullet number 3.
Before it was 4, now it's 3. Now it's
Do
gone.
we want to say something about evaluate and address, or just leave it?
I think it does show we're going to do more than just look at it. It shows we're going to be then trying to find a solution.
We're going to address it. Look here, spaces.
Hello.
Hello, space.
What do you want to be called?
Yeah, really.
I thought that was a good one because we don't really talk. We mentioned it in our what was it, our staff and finance subcommittee about the need to educate our stakeholders, and this is really the only place where we talk about that as any form of strategy.
But should we have a descriptor in front of needs, like
Yeah, I was thinking
budgetary
the same
needs,
thing.
financial needs, operational needs? There's some sort of
Specific
qualification of the needs.
Yeah.
I think operational would cover
Mhm.
most of that. I had the same thought, Krista.
How does it needs of or needs for?
Needs of. Yeah.
Educate stakeholders about funding structures and operational needs of JMRL. Oh. All right. Work with jurisdictional partners to preserve and update aging library facilities. So I hate to say it, but like probably the central library stuff is an objective, not a.
Right.
We might get blowback from this on the full board because there's been so much of a push and discussion about central. You know, they might want to have something specific in there, but I would say like we can take it out and say that you know, it's covered under this preserve and update aging library facilities. Okay, so still here is the problem.
I was gonna say that last one about where you just were, David. The educate and provide access and the sentence with it, could that not be combined to say educate and provide equitable access to emerging technologies? Or do we want to just make sure we're saying all technologies, and as the second one implies?
I think we do want to however you said the first part was great, but then not just emerging technologies, existing technologies as well.
That's yeah.
So how about, this is not making that much shorter, to existing and emerging.
There you go.
It's one sentence.
Yeah.
It's getting a little better, but
It's one line.
One line.
That's fine.
Do you really need the keep digital resources current, accessible, and secure while ensuring for growth? Couldn't that be an objective? Maybe
Yeah.
keep the first part of it. I don't know.
Well, an objective has to be measurable.
Promote awareness and discoverability of library resources, adapting to meet patrons' information seeking behavior. Keep digital resources current, accessible, and secure while ensuring room for growth. What are we saying? So the concepts that we were trying to shoehorn in here are security. Like we really didn't address, you know, kind of IT infrastructure security anywhere. And that's something that came up.
I do think this might be something for the staff document. We have it, it's under, like, whatever we do with digital resources, we're doing with all the resources, like.
And we could come up with some measurable, it wouldn't be that exact language.
Exactly.
Well, since you've got room for growth there, you could, you could set a growth pattern for your digital resources.
Yeah, or like, spending caps or things like that.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
Yeah, specific goal of security.
Kayla, any objections to that? Objections?
Nope.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's a good spot for us to kind of leave it here, take this to our graphic designer and see what they say about, where and what we can do with that, and then get back together if we come back with that's still too much or that's still too wordy or whatnot. Jennifer, what are your thoughts?
I think we're in a good place, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that section has been reduced significantly, so I think it's good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think you guys have worked hard and thought really hard about this for a year. It's good to have this like time of introspection to think about what you're doing and what the organization's doing. And then to try to turn that into like 10 bullet points is very difficult. So I think that we're in good shape here. Latasha, thank you for keeping on this, keeping us focused too. Go ahead, Meredith.
Can I nitpick a grammar thing? The first bullet in that last section we were talking about, ensure that all resources reflect. So reflect should be
singular. And then Google says support.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the resources reflect and support.
So what about an apostrophe in its?
No.
No, because it's possessive. No
Yes.
apostrophe.
I thought possessives did need the apostrophe.
No,
No,
it's
contraction.
apostrophe is it is.
Apostrophe takes the place of the I.
But wouldn't
when you
the,
remove it.
not to get too stupid about it, but wouldn't it be the possessive? The apostrophe itself signifies a possessive.
Yes, and
It
that's
is
why there's no
possessive.
apostrophe for its.
The freedom to read belongs to the community.
Exactly. And that's why there's no apostrophe in this word.
It's one of the weird English rules that grammar rules that just don't actually fit.
trust- I
Yeah,
trust that Meredith and Meredith know that much
It
better
is,
than I do.
yeah, no, that-
Okay, so the things that we want to get done before we meet with the designer on Friday, Jennifer, are this section here, coming up with some language to replace that. So
Mhm.
maybe you and I, when we meet tomorrow afternoon, can try to come up with just a few sentences there. And our goals there were to kind of define the resources that we have and define the types of literacy that the library is working on supporting the community in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think any kind of context we need to bring to it, we can put there.
Yeah, and all this stuff, like this is kind of boilerplate, like this is, you know, in the front of the budget that we put out. And it's like, so I don't know how meaningful that is to people. I think we just want to give them the sense of the scope of JMRL, like what they have access to, the value of the shared resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we say the same thing every.
Yeah, right. This is not like.
That normally you say we're the size of Delaware.
You can't say that anymore.
I don't want to talk about it.
The land mass.
Maybe we just have to find a European country because I'm sure there's one small enough that would work.
Luxembourg.
We're bigger than
tiny.
Andorra.
There you go.
But everybody's bigger than Andorra.
Larger than
Luxembourg.
Vatican City. Okay, so I'll spend some time with that tomorrow morning, and Jennifer and I will meet tomorrow and then meet again with the designer on Friday and get their take on it. Now, let's leave this. We're done with this for now?
Okay.
I think so.
I'm pretty happy with that. Good job, team.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Who
say I
wants-
couldn't have gone crazy if you guys hadn't gone through all that stuff. So.
I thought you were gonna say if we weren't here to support you going crazy on that.
No one should have to support that.
There's a whole other job here, which is to go through these values and look back at all of our notes from all of our subcommittees and come up with the actual like objectives that need to be associated with it. And I think that document that I shared with you at the beginning, which is in our folder, is a good starting point for that. Who's interested in that project?
Let's raise our hands now.
Not all at once.
That's just
Sorry, was this-
staff.
Was it the
Our
staff side?
I'm happy to give a shot.
Yeah.
Sure. I was looking for countries similar to the size of Delaware. Sorry.
Okay.
Haley's not here, so you could volunteer.
Volunteer
It
here.
sounds like something Haley would really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
But
You
I
just
think
need
you're coming
staff.
from a CERC
You don't-
point of view.
You don't need Alita and I for that, though. That's a staff exercise.
I mean, I
correct?
think maybe not for all the wordsmithing, but I think it's important to get a board perspective on it. Like, hey, you're headed in the right direction, or you're going sideways.
Okay.
But so Alita, you might not have to come to every meeting. Alita did volunteer. I'm not turning down any volunteer help. So I saw Alita, Susan, Kayla.
I'll help.
Thank you, Latasha.
I think I would be involved at some point.
Yeah, Jennifer, same story. Yours might be more of helping us to organize the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
I think what we're looking for is just a straight, flat, ugly, bullet pointed list to begin with, and then we'll make it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I will do is set up a meeting, and it can be Zoom because it's not a board thing.
That's a
For
different.
those
different
folks
community.
to get together and just start to kind of parse out. Maybe I'll do a little pre-work to try and make sure everybody has all the resources that we need. They're all in that folder, but that folder's got a lot of stuff in it right now. Okay, I think, look at that. We're 8 minutes early for today. I think we're.
Woohoo!
Oh, David, I was, you mentioned Nan, something starts with a C.
Carmack.
Yeah. And I was online today, and there was the dementia what you call it?
Yeah, the challenge. Yeah,
The dementia challenge. My sister has dementia, and so I was kind of interested. It was very good. I went through that. I'm on number 4 right now.
That's great. That's great. Has any staff here gone through that?
I thought I signed up for it, but I didn't get a reminder, so I forgot about it. And I have similar interests as Lita has.
Yeah, family connection.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad to hear. And is Nan running that?
Yes.
Nan is in charge of the library network and development team at the Library of Virginia. So she's the main liaison, or in charge of the department that's the main liaison to public libraries from the Library of Virginia, and also is the incoming Virginia Library Association president, or current.
She's current.
She's the current Virginia Library Association president as well. So she's a great resource and has helped us in our 5-year planning. And you might have met her, Alita, at VLA last year. Time flies, though. Okay. I think we're all set. Meredith Cole, if you want to gavel
Gavel us out.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you all so much for your
everybody.
time. Yeah, talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait. Yes, bye. So I'm stopping recording, and then there's a meeting. There's a staff meeting on something else. I can't remember. Oh, about the Nelson kiosk. So we're ending this meeting, and then Susan and Meredith and Kayla, please hang around. Bye.
So we're supposed to be meeting tomorrow, right? Susan? Okay.
Susan's muted.
You're muted. But I